Hi everyone and welcome to my place. While I was in Japan, I took some Ikebana classes and I also took some Moribana classes, which I think I like the best. It's more for a girl like myself. So let me just tell you share with you what I discovered about Moribana Japanese flower arranging. Now it means piled up flowers. I love piled up flowers. It was introduced to Japan in the early parts of the 20th century and it pretty much just means landscape garden of beauty, grace and elegance. That I love a lot. And like Ikebana, this design has the same basic principles and the focus on heaven, earth and humanity. The four sectors of the container represent, the part facing the room represents the summer and the south. The far side, that's my side, represents the north and the winter. The right side is for the east and the spring and the left side is for the west and the autumn. I still don't understand, but I sort of got a good mark when I was doing my WE exam, so I thought I'll just share it with you. It's not a lot of flowers, but there's a lot of piling up, and that's the kind of designing I like. And it still involves the flowing lines, the floaty lines, the grace and the beauty of the flowers as they appear to you. And it's a visual interpretation, which is what I've always said about floral art anyway. It's what you like. And like some people like Versace, some people like Chanel, some people like hot and spicy, some love sweet. So, you know, it's just a matter of taste. So what I've done here is I've got this lovely white square container. I've filled it with foam. Now, they don't use a lot of foam. They use pin holders or they have other constructions. But this is my take on it and my interpretation. So I've just got a whole heap of ivy here, and we all know that ivy can have a life of its own. I'll just take those leaves off. So, and the other thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to place those just place those to naturally occur as if they were growing in the wild, because a lot of the designing I discovered was everything was placed as if it was growing. So that's good enough for me. And, you know, working with ivy can be a little frustrating. So it just means that, and just see what I did there? See how that was just like going up into the ear? Just get a shorter bit and put that on top of it, and that'll just keep that in place. I saw a lot of that too. And I want this, like, if it's to be like a living garden, then I say just place as if it was naturally occurring, you know? And if it wants to stick up, well, it wants to stick up, and that just gives a bit more beauty and form to your design, doesn't it? And that little hunky bit there, I'm just going to use that, cut those bits there off, so that thick bit can just be placed into there. And the other thing is, by using the ivy, what I'm able to do is to cover as much of that moss as I can. When I was in Japan, what we did use were they did use a lot of pin holders, which I absolutely loved, apart from the fact that you had to be, you know, very thoughtful about what you were doing. Actually, I'll just use those little bits there because it seems a waste not to, doesn't it? And that's the other thing I discovered, that, you know, nothing should be wasted at all, and you only pick what you need before you go too far into your design. Okay, so, and it's based on, everything that you do is based on the scalene triangle, which is 3 uneven sides. A bit hard when you've got a square container, but that's okay. We will see what we can achieve. Right, I couldn't get any fresh delphiniums, so I'm just going to use these artificial ones here, which will be good for my purpose of sharing with you today. So where that's sort of starting to bend, I will just place another one into there so that supports it and stops it from moving too much. And then what I will do is I'll cut this one much smaller so that actually, I'll put that into there, so that actually supports the two that I've already got up. And I'm just got fingers crossed that stays in the position. So it still works on the same theory and principles that I've always showed you, that, you know, your eye hits the tallest form and then it just comes into the basic, to the weight and at the base of your design. Now, I loved the irises. I just absolutely loved seeing them growing. And all the gardens, because it was that time of the year, that the irises were everywhere, and I just loved that. You know, you have the straight line here, and then you have this lovely curving line over to one side, and I'm just going to place that so that it actually comes out and over behind it. Now, trying where possible to get that so that there is a bit of space, and that's the other thing that I really loved. Everything was placed with considered thought. It was placed to look as if it was naturally growing or naturally occurring, which I'm always going on about, but also that there was enough room so that a butterfly could quietly just zoom through, like quietly drift through the arrangement or the design without actually clipping its wings. I really love that. Now, the other thing that I noticed was with the spring flowers, which were still available, most of the spring flowers were quite short and they used as coverage. So I'm just going to cut that off there. And when it comes to placing these down into your design, what you can do, which I found easy to use, was getting your flowers and using a pencil. I'll just turn that around. Maybe if I turn it around so that we can all see what I'm doing, it'd be much easier. Just getting a pencil or a pen and then just inserting a hole like so to actually help to get your flowers into position, because these have got little wee short, like soft stems, and trying to push that down into the foam, what happens is that the foam will go up into the fine little wee tissues or cellular structure of your flower and will actually make that a little bit hard for it to get in, and it will be hard for it to suck up the moisture. So just putting a little hole down into there and then pressing that into there is quite an easy way of designing. Now I'm just going to turn this around so that I can see where I'm going, so that I can just push all of these down as close in as possible. And the other thing is that keeping these low and down into the design means that they will actually last a little bit longer. So that there's far too long. I would take that out and I would clip that down a bit lower. And now I've got another lot over here, so I'm just going to do the same thing with these. This class, I think this class took me 3 days to sort of finally try and get to the bottom of it. So I was having days when I felt like I was a bit of a slow learner, to be actually honest, but I had to keep remembering, and as the master keeps saying to me, it's the layering of the different flowers and forms that actually brings the design to life, and that these, as you know, they're living gardens, or the way of the flower, and you're bringing it inside to enjoy. So if they were growing in the garden, like the delphiniums would grow up into the sky, and the jonquils or the soldier or whatever you're using, they grow low to the ground or low to the base of your design. So I'll just bring another one of those into there, and now the other thing is that if anything like this was seen, see how that's all very droopy? They wouldn't even use that. They will put that aside, give it another drink, and then that might go into another design once it had sort of like come to life. So there, we'll just have those to there, like so. Now the next thing I want to put in is some graceful lines, and I have just the smallest little bits. This is just starting to come in my garden with this lovely jasmine. So that is, now I'm just going to play God for a minute. I'm going to cut that bit off because I want that lovely line to just sort of go from one side, and that's going to be, when it's on the resting surface, it's going to just counterbalance what's happening up and over this side. There's another piece which I'll put into there. So this, and as the flowers come in to flower, they're very special so that they would take pride of place. So we'll put those into there. I'm just going to put those down because I'll use those for something else, getting rid of this. Right, I also have some maidenhair fern. Now, I would never normally use this, but it was deemed to be a beautiful thing, a beautiful green. Now that I'm just going to put up into there because I've got the space from this layer here to this layer up here. So these are just going to be placed, and also when you see those through there, you've got this, it's diffusing the heaviness of that blue. I did enjoy these classes, and I wish you could have all come with me because I think you'd have enjoyed it as much as I did. And then I'll bring another little bit into there, and you'll notice I'm placing everything as if I'm throwing a dart so that the base of my hand is out of it, so that just my little fingers are in, well, I can't say little fingers because I don't have little fingers. So that can go into there, and I just feel that that little bit into there could be quite a nice bit. So see how the layers are starting to come to fruition? Now I've got this lovely kale. Normally I would just cut all of those off, but they would just leave those because it's another beautiful form. So that can go into there, and then that, I'll just turn this around, can just go, oops, sorry, I'm going the wrong way for you. That can just be placed to just sit into there. So we've got, there's another layer of flowers that are coming up. So you've got the ivy here, which has got a life of its own, but that's okay because that's a bit of grace and beauty and movement. And then this lovely greenness of the kale. And what I also loved was and when I was talking to the master after, we had a really lovely discussion about the colours and how colour and nature works together. So you got the lovely lime green of the maidenhair fern, and then that green is reflected through and into the colour of the kale. Love it. Now from there I've got some irises. So the irises, I'll just bring those out, and I'm just going to put those up and over this side here, in between the two, this big line here with the delphinium and the line of the Dutch irises, and just bring those, step those down and into the design. So I'm still using the basic principles of the scalene triangle. So I've got the point here down to here, and then the slipping down into the lower placements of the iris. Well, I wish my master that I had was here because I think he'd be quite pleased with how I'm just visually sharing. Now that's too tall. So that bit there can just go down and into there to go over in that angle there, because I've still got this triangle that's got to come from there down to there. But pretty much it's just like, if you just like to just always be thinking about how things grow, that will just help immensely when it comes to displaying them, and to be remembering that a butterfly's got to be able to gently float through here. Okay, so from there, now let's just bring it around to this side, to the front side there. I have got some lovely yellow roses, which I want to put in, and the reason I'm using the yellow roses is because the iris has got a bit of yellow with them. So I'm just going to cut these to come down and into the base of my design. And because it's a primary colour and it's quite a heavy colour, I feel that this is best placed short. And the other thing is that, as I've said on more than one occasion, the longer the stem of a rose, the shorter its life expectancy. So cutting them short just means that, let me just turn this around here, that just means that the flower is going to last longer. Now I just want to push that out there, and I just want to push that into there. So there we have, oops, do you know what? That wasn't even in the foam. So I'm going to take that out, and I'm just going to put that into there, which is a better placement, because now the eye hits this little bit here and of the jasmine, and it comes in, and there you can see that pristine beauty. And if you wanted to smell it, then you can go right into there and actually smell and enjoy it. So there is my take on Ikebana floral designing. Let me just turn that around so that you can have a look at it. So at every corner you can see what's going on. I hope I got the colours for the seasons sorted out, but for me, you know what, visually I just absolutely love that for what it is. So if you're into Moribana, give it a go, or if you've never done it, give it a go and let me know how you get on. Really enjoyed sharing this with you, and I look forward to seeing you all again another day.